I have on the line one of the true legends of mixed martial arts. He is also an entrepreneur and a future UFC Hall of Famer. He is Rich Ace Franklin. Rich, thanks so much for the time, man. How's everything going?
I'm doing really well, Fred. Thanks for having me on, brother.
Hey, no problem, man. Congratulations to your Cincinnati Bengals. Finally clinched the playoff spot again.
Well, and like you said earlier, we'll see if they'll win a game this year, playoff game. So
Yeah.
Hopefully, keep our fingers crossed.
Hopefully. Now, we're going to talk a little bit about your fight future, but you've been pretty damn busy outside of the cage with Z-Lin, which is an organic juice infusion cafe. You opened up a couple locations in California. Can you tell everybody about that?
Well, we only have one location open right now. I'm on 252 South Beverly Drive, just a little south of Wilshire, and then I have a second location to be opened in Brentwood, which is another area of Los Angeles. And having to cut a little governmental red tape with that one, but no, I'm moving along, and I've been really busy building this business. I've been boots on the ground, involved in every aspect of the business, from procuring vendors to actually making juices behind the counter. So I've been there for basically every step of the way. And you're right, it has kept me really, really busy.
And how hard is it to not only open a business, but then run it once you get through all of the stuff you have to go through as far as like sanctions and getting approved and all that stuff?
Well, I'll tell you what, for the food industry, it's especially difficult. And when I started doing this, I didn't know what I was getting into, honestly. I didn't realize how difficult it was to open a food-based establishment. And you have, just with any normal business, it's a new business. We didn't buy any existing business or franchise or something like that. So, we have all of our building permits and build-outs and construction and then fire permits and all that kind of stuff. But then on top of it, when you're in the food industry, you're dealing with health permits and all these things. And everything has to match up, and the approval from one depends on the approval from another, and it's a very time-consuming and tricky process with a lot of red tape to it.
And where does this idea come from? I mean, you've been a guy that's big on nutrition for a number of years. You take tremendous care of your body. What made you decide, you know what, I'm going to start a business and really go for this?
Well, I think that's essentially what happened. I have my business partner, my business partner, Billy Zeeby, and my last name, Franklin, which is where the name of the business comes from, Z-Lin. We just kind of combined our two last names. He had gone into the business, and we had bought some franchises to some pig berries in the Chicago area, and I was going to actually get in on that business venture with him, and I ended up not. And so he and I were looking for a different business venture, and we were at one point actually looking at a Dunkin' Donut franchise. Long story short, the Dunkin' we got to the point where we were basically almost ready to write a check for the franchise, and then I just looked at him and I said, Billy, this is not what I'm about. I'm all about fitness and nutrition and healthy lifestyle, and I'm going to be cramming donuts down people's throats all day in order to make money. So, he was much the same way, and it's kind of like, yeah, you know what, I get it, you're right. And I had been juicing, funny for an athlete to say that, but I've been juicing for some time now, and had kind of reintroduced the concept to him. And both of us, he was on the road one time in California and basically saw a juice bar and ended up calling me and saying, Rich, I've got our next business venture. So on a trip that I had to LA, I looked at him and I thought, you know what, I like this. I like this idea. It's what I'm about. And the concept is fresh and new. It's something different. And let's do this and see what happens. And so that's how all this came about.
And one of the benefits of juicing, funny for an athlete to say, is getting all your vegetables pretty much in one place. I mean, if you took all the vegetables you probably put in one smoothie, it'd take maybe a day or two of eating. You get all that in one shot.
Exactly. So here's what I do. For myself personally, like when I get up in the morning, I make myself. I actually blend a drink. I don't juice it in the morning. I blend it, and that helps me maintain all the fiber in my drink. And a lot of times when I go into my store, like my employees, my staff, my team, they know at this point. I'll come in and I'll say, hey, can you make my morning drink for me? And they basically take one of the drinks that that's on the menu, and instead of juicing it, they blend it because it allows me to keep the fiber in, and that's a really important aspect. But just in general, juicing, it's a great way to get your all your vitamins and minerals in. And I tell people that you can juice or blend, for that matter, your vegetables. And when you do that, like in my morning drink, I probably get more vegetable and fruit intake than most people get in nearly a week, than your average person gets in a week. And so yeah, it's a great way to just really get a very nutrient dense shot of vitamins and minerals.
And when did nutrition really become a big part of your life? Obviously, you've been a fighter for a long time, so you had to keep in shape and whatnot. But when did you really decide to start taking care of your body to the point where you're looked at as kind of like a role model as far as like fighters go in regards to nutrition?
Well, so my thoughts and ideas and practices on nutrition have evolved since I really started, since it became important to me. You know, I was the skinny kid in high school. I didn't even start from a high school football team. I graduated, weighed 155 pounds, and I took a nutrition class I don't know if it was my junior or senior year of high school. But basically, I started getting into the importance of just nutrients in the body, things like carbohydrates, proteins for building muscle, and all that kind of stuff. And then as time developed, like, you know, so initially for me, it was all about how can I put on muscle? How can I get bigger? Because I just didn't want to look like the little weak guy. And I hit a late growth spurt in high school or in my freshman year of college. But as time developed, what ended up happening was, like, I thought my dad had died of a heart attack at the age of 56, and I could see his health fading. And into his later years, I started, like, the nutrition became important to me in the sense that I wanted to know, like, how the body heals itself, how it regenerates from workouts, how you can prevent disease and premature aging and all those kinds of things. And so I think just seeing my dad's health fade really kind of pushed me in that direction of things. And so, you know, like I said, just over the years, my ideas on health and nutrition and stuff like that have kind of morphed.
You're not just a business owner. You're a guy that's done acting. You know, you have American Fighter. You've branded yourself. You are a brand. When did it click for you that you should start preparing for the future in your fight career?
Well, you know, I just sat down with the UFC last week, and I basically told them, I said, I'm at least a month, maybe 2 months out of being able to just completely, like, walk away from this business, let my business partner take care of the things that need daily attention, and be able to train full time without any kind of distractions or anything like that. Because right now I'm just focused on the business. So I'll take this next month or two, making sure that the business gets to the point where it can kind of go on cruise control, or it doesn't need as much attention, I should say. And I'll revisit with the UFC at that point and look at. I have one fight left on my contract, and that fight will more than likely be my retirement fight.
Do you have a target date and perhaps an ideal opponent for your final fight?
No, it would all depend on my business, but I would say on the current time frame, given the times that I just laid out, I'm looking at probably not any earlier than, say, something like June-ish for fight, and I have no clue. It's my final fight, and so you know, I'm not in a title hunt or anything like that. So it needs to be a fight that makes sense for me. Somebody that's been around the game, somebody that has a name for themselves, and a fight that the fans would be interested in watching. A good, exciting fight would be the way that I wanted to go out.
You mentioned that you sat down with the UFC. The UFC's done a tremendous job trying to help fighters prep for the future with the Fighter Summit and everything. You're a guy that's all about nutrition and a guy that's been great at branding and stuff. Would you be open to maybe spearheading a program with the UFC that helps fighters have better nutrition, have healthier lifestyles, especially with guys these days that don't exactly cut weight the right way?
Oh, absolutely. But I'll tell you, I would that would be right up my alley, something like that. But the UFC has Mike Dolce. He's doing the UFC Fit program. I don't know what kind of interaction Mike has with the fighters, per se, but I know that this is an initiative that they've been doing, and I've been, I guess, kind of on the outskirts part of that a little bit because I've gone and done some talks on military bases with Mike. So I'm not sure if that role, something like that, has already been fulfilled or what. But because I know Mike worked with Johnny Hicks, and he works with specific fighters, so something like that might still be open. But yeah, that something along those lines would be right where I need to be.
You have a few acting credits to your name. Can we see you in any movies anytime soon?
I'll say this: between prepping for my final fight and running this business, I don't foresee anything coming in the near future unless it just kind of fell into my lap. I don't have the time to really be pursuing that heavily right now. So I don't see it happening, but you never know. You never know what could come my way.
Very nice. And lastly, on Zilin, obviously you guys make everything naturally right in front of you. But do you ever see a point where you guys brand yourselves enough where you could start carrying some of your special juices and blends in stores such as Whole Foods?
We actually already do. We do the fresh made juices, and we also do cold pressed juicing, which is we do it at a different facility. It's a different method of juicing that preserves nutrients longer, and then we bottle it and we can sell it in the store. So some people like to just come in. Some people like to come in and they like to see their drink being made fresh. I'm that guy. Some people like to come in and just grab a bottle and go. And when you're doing everything in our store is organic. We do superfood smoothies, fruit smoothies. We do fruit and vegetable juices, juice blends. They're both cold pressed and fresh made, and we have a full selection of baked goods that are. Everything in our store is vegan, or not vegan, but gluten free, and some of our baked goods are also vegan. But we have, like I said, everything in our store that we have is organic. And so when you're juicing something, and somebody comes in and a price point for a juice is $8.95 for a cold pressed juice, and it's difficult for some people to look at a bottle of juice and say, man, I'm basically paying $9 for this bottle of juice. But when you sit and watch it being made fresh and you see everything that goes in it, then you kind of understand, like, wow, I just ate, 2 dinner salads full of vegetables, and it would cost me way more to eat this stuff at a restaurant than it would to drink it. So this is actually a really good deal. So it just depends on the type of customer. But those bottled juices at some point in time, we would definitely be looking to have them in stores like a Whole Foods or something like that.
Awesome, man. Well, listen, Rich, I really do appreciate the time. Before we go, where can everybody find you and Zealand online?
You can go to myzealand.com, myzelin.com, and then on the website there you'll see our social media attached to it. And then I have a personal nutritional page called Ace's Way, so you can check that out as well. And I think there are links to all that stuff on my richfranklin.com website.
Of course, you can check out richfranklin.com, and of course, you can follow Rich on Twitter at richfranklin. Easy enough to follow.
Absolutely.
Rich,
yep.
Thanks so much for your time, man. Really appreciate it. Good luck with everything.
Hey, thank you, Fred. Appreciate it. Have a good day.
Thank you. You too. And there you have it, everybody. Rich Ace Franklin, future UFC Hall of Famer, actor, entrepreneur. I hope you enjoyed this interview. Until next time, as always, enjoy the fights.